Now, according to Jumia Travels Hospitality Report 2018, Kenya's travel and hospitality sector supported 1.1 million jobs, equivalent to 9% of total employment in 2017. Jumia predicts that by end of 2018, the employment rate will rise by 3.1% and 2.6% by 2028 to provide 1.5 million jobs. Here to share more findings of the report is Josephine, Wawira, Communications Manager at Jumia Travel. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Take us through some of the key highlights of the report. What were some of the findings that really stood out for you?
So the major highlights for this year's hospitality report, noting that it is an annual report that we do to highlight some of the industry trends, talking of hospitality, travel and tourism. So we're looking at some of the contributions that the industry did to the GDP, that is the Kenya's economy. We're also looking, as you mentioned, to the employment in Kenya, as well as some of the technological trends that are influencing Kenyans' travels behaviors in Kenya. We have also engaged various hospitality stakeholders, from hoteliers to aviation industry sector members, as well as to travel, that is the OTAs, to share some of the insights in the tourism industry.
Looking at some of the government strategies that have been put in place to boost the tourism sector, including the visa on arrival policy for Africans, among many others, are these actually bearing fruit for the industry?
I would say yes. Noting that Kenya has joined the 21 other countries that have either opened up their borders, that is completely scrapping off the visa restrictions, or just lifting some of them. And proudly, Kenya now opening up also to our East African brothers and sisters, so that they can do business as well as travel to Kenya. And in such, we realize that this has also encouraged both the domestic and international travelers to Kenya, noting that international expenditures, for instance, in 2017 rose as compared to 2016, welcoming about 1.4 million international visitors in 2017. Yes, so we are looking at some of the visa policies that would help tourism increase to about 25% in Africa, and this include the free border policy.
Now, your report actually shows that domestic expenditure grew in 2017. What supported this growth?
Yeah, you're right. We are looking at about 62% as compared to international expenditure. And some of the things that have encouraged this in 2017 is the fact that Kenyans have now embraced traveling. It is no longer about, that class of, only the international tourists can travel to Kenya. We have embraced domestic travel. We are able to tour our different sites. We are able to market Kenya as a tourist destination, not from the experience of other people, but our own experience. We are also looking at affordability of travel. For instance, in Jumia Travel, we say that now travel is more affordable than it was before. This is because, for instance, we have the resident rates encouraging Africans and Kenyans in particular to be able to travel to local destinations using a resident rate that is a bit cheaper than the normal rate. We are also looking at accessibility of some of these destinations that were previously not so accessible, and all these factors all completely contributed to the rise of domestic travel in Kenya.
We've seen tremendous growth in Kenya's local aviation industry.
True.
Has this growth translated to domestic tourism?
It has. We are talking of the low-cost airlines. We are looking at airlines like Jumbo Jet. We are looking at Skyward Express. And these are airlines that have brought, like I said, affordability of travel. It's not about the hotels alone. It's a whole package. So looking at the airline sector, the fact that people no longer have to use road, for instance, if they're going to destinations like Lodwar, they're going to Mombasa, they are going to Turkana. These are places that have been opened up by low-cost airlines, such that a Kenyan is able to travel from Nairobi to, for instance, Lodwar in a very few minutes for just a weekend getaway. And all this package has encouraged also Kenyans to travel. We are also looking at the accessibility of booking airlines online, so that you don't need to keep walking in or to keep searching everywhere. For instance, Jumia Travel, the fact that we are able to bring hotels, we are able to bring airlines, we are able to bring packages all on one platform as a one-stop shop. That has also encouraged the penetration of low-cost airlines to the various destinations.
Where?
And we're hoping that also they are going to try and reach to other destinations that are yet to be explored.
Speaking of destinations,
Yes,
where
yes.
are Kenyans traveling to? Are we still stuck on the conventional beach safaris, sort of holidays, or are we more open to other ways of traveling?
Kenyans are diversifying. We are looking at Nairobi, for instance, taking up the highest, the topmost traveled destination or city. Reason being, it is both a business destination as well as a leisure destination, such that Kenya, like we said, the fact that the visa-free policy is now opening up also for business, so that other countries are also to do their conferences in Nairobi, and this has opened up or increased Nairobi to be one of the most traveled to destination. And also the fact that we have places like the national parks, so after your meetings you're able to do a very early morning drive, and all that package as a business and a leisure destination has brought up Nairobi as a top. We're also looking at Mombasa coming up, knowing that Kenyans are a fan of the beach, but an interesting fact is that places like Nakuru and Naivasha are coming up strongly to say that we are also trying to compete for this piece of the cake because of their proximity to the city, which we said is a top destination, and the fact that they have also brought up some of the most beautiful and most properties where you can spend your weekend either with your friends or with your family or even as a lone traveler. So this proximity, the fact that they're now affordable, has also brought them up, and we're hoping that in the next few years these will be able to share to have a share of the top destinations in Kenya. So yes, Kenyans are diversifying from the normal beach and safari destinations.
What are the Kenyan travelers' tech behaviors like, and how are travel agencies responding to this?
To note that Kenyans are some of the very tech travelers that we have in Africa, and they're not scared of using their technology savviness when it comes to travel. We are looking at, for instance, Jumia Travels, 71% of our travelers book their stay or book their airlines through mobile as compared to the desktop or tablet as in the previous years. So we are looking also at Wi-Fi connectivity as one of the top amenities that a traveler will look for before booking for a hotel. And hoteliers are also picking up these trends to make sure that they understand what Kenyans are looking for. If it's Wi-Fi connectivity, they want to make sure that it is available, even for free. We are also looking at virtual reality because a Kenyan, as they embrace technology, they want to see, for instance, if it's an airline, they want to see before they get there. They want to see, if I'm paying this amount of money for my economy class, what am I going to get? And so the airlines are also using the virtual reality to be able to show the travelers that this is what we have. The same as hotels, they want to show you the amenities they have in and outside of the property. And so these are some of the technologies. And as well as, as an OTA, Jumia Travel, for instance, we are constantly trying to revolutionize our apps to make sure that they are very, very, very convenient for our travelers.
What does the domestic tourism market portray for 2018?
We saw an increase of about 16% in 2017, the entire domestic travel. And remember, as I said, the expenditure for domestic travel in Kenya was more than that of international. And as Kenyans continue to embrace travel, we understand, or we believe that by the end of this year or in the next 1 year, we are going to see a more increase in percentage of domestic travel. Some of the things that we are looking at, the entry of international chain hotels will also contribute to more of employment, and we are also looking at, the continuing implementation of the open border policy. We believe that it is going to contribute a lot of that. Remember, we are now going to have the direct flights from Kenya to the US. That should also be able to encourage more international tourists in Kenya. And we believe that this is going to increase competitiveness and continue opening Kenya as a top destination for safari.
All right. And finally, what more can we expect out of the sector?
The sector is definitely going to display its resilience despite some of the challenges we are looking at. For instance, infrastructure. We believe that the government is continually working to ensure that some of the areas that are not so easily accessible, because Mara, for instance, is a very top destination for safari, and we are now at the migration period, and we need to ensure that these are areas that are easily accessible, whether by air or by road. So some of these implementations, marketing issues, showcasing what Kenya really has to offer, and not afraid of security, which is quite on the higher end this year. And we believe by the end of this year, with all those aspects put in place, then travel and tourism industry should be able to contribute more to the GDP, as we expect about 5.2% increase from the current 3.7 in 2017.
All right, thank you very much. We've been speaking to Josephine Wawira, Communications Manager at Jumia Travel, on their 2018 hospitality report, what the key findings were, as well as what we can expect out of the sector for the second half of 2018. Well, unfortunately, that's all that we have time for you here today on Inside Business.